I just feel like I should have came in here with my finger up, like like you were, in church trying to leave or go to the bathroom. You got to put your finger up as you walk down the aisle. And if you don't know that reference, then I'm definitely showing my auntie age, but it's fine. It's whatever. Hello, hi, how are ya? Hi, family. It's me for real. It's your young auntie, Miss Koi Ryan here. And um if you're here, then I appreciate you being here. I truly, truly do. Whether you are new or you are a family member that's been here for a while, I appreciate you so much. And I honestly don't know how to start this. I don't know how to jump into it. So I'm just going to say welcome back and or welcome to the Young Aunties podcast with me, your host, Miss Koi Ryan. And if you are listening where you stream your favorite podcast, or you are here on the YouTube fam, know that you are loved. Know that I appreciate you. Know that we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get into. And at the end of it, I just want you to know, like, I am being fully transparent as I can be. I ain't got no brows on. I ain't got no lashes on. The one thing I said I'm going to do for my family is at least lay the wig down, because y'all almost got a bonnet. Almost. But we're here. We're blessed. We're alive. I thank you so much for being here, like I already said. And truth be told, I know I've apologized before for the hiatus that I took in, what was that, 2021 to 22, maybe something like that. But this one was truly unintentional. Like, I don't know how everybody else's 2024 has been. And so happy December for us making it. We should be grateful, because I'm pretty sure there might have been some times where you didn't know if you were going to make it, but you're here and you're appreciated and you're necessary. And a lot has happened this year. What we're going to talk about today is going to shed a lot of light on where I've been and why y'all haven't seen me, or even why you've seen me on social media and IG and different things like that, and TikTok, but not necessarily here, or you've heard me lately. We're going to get into that. But before we go further, please be sure that if you are listening, that you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get to stream your favorite podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Google Play. We are there. And if you are here on the YouTube space, thank you so much. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All right? Because the family has to get bigger, because y'all hold me accountable. And to be completely honest with you, it's like, Auntie, why come back now? Like, what really prompted me to come back now? Because part of me wasn't going to come back. Let me rephrase that. It's not I wasn't going to come back. It was I just didn't know how to. I didn't know when. It always felt like the wrong time. It always felt like there was something else coming up. If it wasn't family, it was technology. If it wasn't technology, it was my job. If it wasn't my job, it was my stress. If it wasn't stress from all those three things, it was relationship up and downs. Like, I know I'm not preaching to a room of one with that, okay? So I'm not going to dilly-dally this any further. I know you're here because you probably want to know what's been going on. But even more so, I hope that through this process, like I said, I'm being totally transparent. I hope somebody really is encouraged. I hope somebody really knows that you are more than a conqueror for real. And like, you are so blessed because you do not look like what you've been through. Even if what you looking at don't look good, you still don't look like what you've been through, because we're going from glory to glory. We're going from another place to another place. So get ready, because we're going to be here for a little while. Make yourself comfortable. Okay, make sure you have your libations, your snacks, whatever you need. I have my chapstick and my green tea, so I'm prepared. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I know that was a super long welcome, but thank you for sitting through it. And let's just get into where Auntie has been and why y'all ain't seen me at the house in a minute. Also, shout out to my mama for getting me this microphone that has amazing sound quality. Y'all be sure to drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think of the microphone and all the other good stuff. But yeah, I'm dilly-dallying, and I said I wasn't going to dilly-dally. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay, cool. So the last time y'all saw me, I want to say it was almost a year ago that you might have we sat down and had a conversation about what was going on. And I know that the podcast has changed a lot since we first started in 2021, but there's a lot that we're going to be getting back into that I really enjoyed, because the reason why I'm coming back, outside of everything else included of everything else I mentioned, is that God is opening doors for me, specifically in regard to this podcast. And it's one of those where it just reminds me that everything I prayed for with the first intentions when God gave me this idea was, to have the opportunities to be able to do what he's opening doors to do now. And so it's been a lot of beating myself up with feeling like I'm not worthy of the opportunities. I got a lot of guilt and shame from not being consistent how I should have been, regardless of what was going on in my life, just having the discipline to get it done and keep doing it. But life be lifing, and we all grown here. So I know you know what it means when life be lifing. Like I said, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But if God ain't be God in one place, he gonna be God in another. You feel me? So he gonna be God all the time. So anyway, let's jump into this year. So this year, top of the year, turned 29. Thank you, Lord, for 29 years. Following that, I'm going to really jump to more important things that were affecting why I wasn't here in the consistency. So y'all know last year I went through a breakup with someone who I was with for, I want to say we were together off and on 4 or 5 years, possibly a little bit longer than that. So the grieving process of that relationship has been less than a walk in the park, to be honest with you. So there was a lot of emotional strife and warfare, as the people like to say, that I was going through, that my friends, my family, and my therapist have been witness to and privy to. And thank God for all of those factors, because keep your community, build a community that's going to support you and encourage you when you need it, even when you don't ask for it. That's real family, I'm telling you, blood relation or not. So in February, it was my first Valentine's Day single. I was just very, a lot of this year feels like there was a very dark cloud, just a very depressive, stressed out cloud over me in different areas. Because at the beginning of the year, my mother had a few different health challenges that were genuinely very scary. As an only child, and I don't necessarily want to say it's because I'm an only child that I feel this way, but I do know a lot of other children who are only children that feel this way about their parent, especially their mom. I don't play by my mama. And turning 30 next month, God willing, we are now in the phase where sometimes we have to parent our parent, not all the time, but sometimes. And when she was really sick, I had to parent my parent. And that was really difficult, really scary, really stressful. I remember being stressed out at work, and then my job that I had, oh, Jesus. One thing I learned, bump them people. Listen, if you are in a stressful, toxic, hostile work environment, please leave that job. Get a plan together if you have to, but do not let nobody treat you less than your worth. When I tell y'all, I have stories of how and why I left that job. And to be quite honest with you, the only thing that kept me there, and my coworkers, my old supervisors, I don't really care who sees this part. I'm being transparent and honest. That's what we do on the Young Auntys podcast, okay? Respectfully. I stayed at my job not because I liked what I did. I got hired and I enjoyed what I did. I felt important. And the reason why I took my job when I did was because, like I said, I was in a relationship. We were talking big money moves, wanting to possibly start a family, wanting to move in together, all those big, long-term relationship conversations. And at the time, I was really just working as a substitute teacher and just started trying to push more into my entrepreneurship journey with my business, which we'll get into in a second. And so it felt like what I needed to do logically was get a job. because I didn't know when or how the business was going to take off. I was using my own funds to fund my business, and working as a substitute teacher at the pay I was making, it wasn't enough to keep myself afloat and still be able to save and still be able to invest in different things. So I was like, I just need to get a job. And the job I got at first, I initially thought it was going to help me learn about my industry. Kid you not. I thought somehow, some way, I was going to work the back channels to learn more about the vending machine industry from the state perspective, because I worked for the state, but I worked for a temp agency. So I was a temp to permanent administrative assistant. At some point in time, you would expect to become permanent, right? Right. So that didn't happen for me. Like I said, know your worth and your value. And my stress was, we're going to get there. So anyway, so at the beginning of the year, still here, at the same time that everything is going on with the job, of stress. And when I say stress, I mean, what I was getting at was I didn't stay at my job because I liked what I did. I stayed at my job because of my coworkers. I stayed at my job because when I came in, my department was so backlogged, was such a mess, was such in disarray, that the person who was training me, I adore her. I adore her. I wouldn't have known how to do my job had it not been for her. She was there for 40 years. She knew more than my executive director and my supervisor, and that's just facts. They would come to her for help with their jobs. Just saying. And so without her, I wouldn't have been able to do as well of a job as I did. And she laid the foundation. But because my department had high turnover, because of my supervisor, transparency, it was just me and her. And like I said, she's been there for 40 years. So she's an elder. And y'all know I have high respect for my elders. So I did not want to see her suffer like that by herself for so long. I knew they hadn't had someone reliable in the department for a long time. And I did not want her to have to be responsible for all that work because it seemed like nobody else was capable of properly helping her. And I had been trained and I was doing really well. And at a certain point in time, I appreciated being appreciated. Like, I appreciated just being told I was doing a good job. I wasn't thinking about the pay. I wasn't thinking about how stressed I was. But then it got to a point where I was getting really stressed out. Like, the more responsibilities they gave me, the more stress I got. And then it was kind of like, oh, well, when you got hired, these are the expectations. And it's like, no. No. I got hired with the expectations that my job duties would be A, B, and C. Y'all have now added on D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. And you still want me to get paid at the same pay as if my job expectations and responsibilities were A, B, C. And there was no movement to get me to be paid for what I was doing from A to M. You understand? And it was a lot of lip service. It was a lot of, oh, it's the state. Oh, it's the background check. Oh, it's this, it's that, and the third. I've been working for the state since I could work at 16. I've had multiple jobs where I had to have fingerprints. I was a massage therapist where I had to be legally fingerprinted and them reserved with the state. So there was no reason for there to be a backlog on my stuff. I worked for the school department. I worked for the school department. I worked for the school. I worked for a school in the state. Therefore, I had to be fingerprinted and background checked. That information is in the archive. Should have been able to pull it. But anyway, digress. So I ended up leaving truly because there was this, over the course of months, and it took months, I will be completely honest with you, I have felt this urge in my spirit forever, almost an entire year, almost a full year I worked there, year and some change I worked there. I was feeling this urge, this is not your final stop. Don't get comfortable here. Don't try and force yourself to be comfortable here. Because I would really try and force myself to be like, can you see yourself here for 5 years? Let's be realistic. Let's be adults about it. Can you see yourself here for 5 years? And it was like, nah, not with the way things are. Not with the stress I'm under right now. Absolutely not. And then my trainer, who was there for 40 years, was retiring. So it was like, oh, no. Y'all not about to stick me like y'all stuck her. Absolutely not. And I remember we got a new person because, like I said, the turnover rate was ridiculous. People didn't stay. And people also weren't coming in. Nobody, every other department in the building, kid you not, I have coworkers that can vouch for this. Every other department in the building on the same floor was getting temps except my department. Every other department that had temps had different abilities than we did, and it was the states. Like, for example, and like I said, I don't work there anymore, so I don't care. I found out that we were supposed to be able to work from home, right? As a temp, we were supposed to be able to work from home. My supervisor and her supervisor did not want to extend this as a courtesy. So when other temps in other departments got to be able to work from home, whether it was bad weather outside, whether they had the ability to get, like, we didn't in my department. It was not just like, no, just my side, just my side. And we didn't have a lot of temps. So it was one of those situations where it did not make sense why we couldn't work from home. But anyway, I digress. So I ended up leaving after we got someone else there. And I adore her. We're still good friends to this day. For the sake of respect, I'm not going to put people's names in it as much as I can. But we're still friends to this day. And I remember feeling so bad because I knew my trainer was leaving. I had an inkling in my heart that I was leaving, and I felt really bad to stick her with everything that I was trying not to get stuck with, that everything that my trainer had gotten stuck with. And I knew in my heart that they were going to take forever to get someone else to come in. Like, it was going to take forever. And then the way they would have to train, because my trainer was leaving, whoever was coming in to do the work might be lost. So I remember when I left, unprompted, because I found out that my supervisors took credit for me doing my setup, which anyway, I had set up my whole entire desk with handwritten notes of files and what the next steps were, what the procedures were, like, and taped them to my desk because I didn't know who was going to come in behind me, and I didn't want them to come in and be confused and overwhelmed the same way I was. Because I had the breakdowns underneath my desk. I had the crying in the bathroom stall that nobody knew about. I was coming to them and telling them I was stressed out. And then I just felt like, why keep coming to y'all and telling y'all I'm stressed or I feel overwhelmed by the workload just for you to turn around and say, well, these are the expectations of your job. You see how redundant that is? That's like telling somebody, oh, I can't do the job you hired me for. You think I wanted to lose my job? No, we're going to suck it up and deal with it. But when I couldn't suck it up and deal with it anymore because the unorganization, the disrespect, y'all, it's not like if I were to sit here and tell y'all everything I went through with that job, we would be here all day. This wouldn't even just be a life update. This would be me expressing to y'all my frustrations with that job. And I'm no longer in that place. So the day I decided to leave was like maybe I want to say 2 weeks after a very good therapy session. And my therapist had been telling me, like, you know, you just need to make a resolution. It's not you don't know how to make a decision. You just need to be resolved in your decision. And so it was like, you've already decided. You know, I had typed up the termination letter, just kept changing the date on it. I had prepared in my mind how I was going to do it. I started tying up loose ends, like making sure things were buttoned up way before I ever submitted my resignation letter. And so what spurred me to do it actually was there was this young man who I came in with as a temp, and it was a Wednesday, and he was leaving out, like he was leaving the building, and I noticed he didn't have his badge, and everybody had colored badges and temps had red badges, right? And so I saw him coming out and he didn't have his badge, and I was like, oh, like, you don't have your badge on, like, where you going? And he was like, oh yeah, no, like, today was my last day. And so we having a conversation. He telling me like, yeah, I'm going back to school and I got a graduateship, so I'm going to be working and being able to get my degree, and it's pretty much the same, if not a little bit more money than what I'm earning here. And I figured, why not? You know, might as well go do what's actually going to serve me. And that inspired me so much that I was like, yeah, I guess that was my signal. We definitely going to be up out of here soon. And so I want to say it was maybe the following day, because there was other life stresses going on at the same time this was happening. And this was in September. So when I tell you I'm jumping ahead, but we're going to go backwards. In September, he told me that on a Wednesday. That Wednesday, I sat in the parking lot and I said to God, I said, you know what? You're right. I can't keep doing this to myself. Y'all, when I tell you, there were weeks at a time, my stomach, like, my stress when I'm stressed out, my body reacts. I may not react, I may not cry, I may not, pace a room, but my body will react. If it's not stress acne, it's going to be my stomach. And most likely it's going to be my stomach. My stomach would be like I had to empty it like every day. Every day, my stomach was in knots. I felt nauseous. I felt sick. And it would only be when I would be driving to work. It would only be when I got to work. There would be days I would be off, or the rare occasion we got to work from home. My stomach would be fine. I would be totally okay. And it just got to a point where I was like, okay, you can't keep lying to yourself. This is not just a coincidence. This is because of this. You're stressed because of, let's be real here, right? So anyway, he told me that Wednesday. I keep coming back to this point. My bad, y'all. But I'm excited to be able to talk to y'all. So like I said, I hope you're comfortable and you have your libations. Give me a second. A little bit of Dunkin'. Anyway, I told God in the parking lot that same day that he told me he was leaving. I was like, okay, God, you know my worries, you know my concerns, my biggest thing was financial support. At this time, of course, I'm single, so it's not like I still have the mindset of, I got to get a job or I got to have money so I can afford to be able to get a place with somebody. It was like, I want to do things for me now. Like, I want to be able to do what I want to do. I want to save. I want to travel. I want to, get my own place. You know what I'm saying? I want to get a better car because I had a different car at that time and it wasn't very reliable. So I was like, God, if you really want me to quit, if this is really what you want, I need to know that there's another form of income coming in. I'm not going to be stressed about it. I'm not going to be worried about it because he told me to work the business. That was God's order to me when I decided to get the job. And I was originally a year prior going back and forth about whether or not to take the job. It was just work the business. Trust me and work the business. And at some point in time, I started to lack trust, right? Jesus, help my unbelief. I was like, yeah, I can work the business, but it was like, no, work it full time. I was like, I don't really know about that. And because of free will, God being a gentleman, he's not going to force me to do it, right? So I decided to get a job, and then I was stressed out for a year. So when I told God that in the parking lot, kid y'all not, maybe the next day, literally, maybe the next day, if not the same day, I got a phone call from my part-time job that was paying me more money than what I was making at my full-time job, calling me back saying that they wanted me back. I'm almost positive it was the same day because I was coming over the bridge into Jersey City from Newark, because I used to work in Newark, and I was coming over the bridge and my phone rang and they said they wanted me back. And I had decided at the same time that I was going to submit my resignation letter that Friday. No idea I was going to get that call. But I had decided in the parking lot that I was going to go home and change the date. I was like, I don't care what job I got to work. If I got to get a job, whatever, I'm going to go after what you told me to go after. I'm going to do it. So boom. But that worry was still in my mind. But we're going to do this. And I remember having a conversation with God about when should I submit my resignation letter, and he told me Friday, and it was a Wednesday, and he told me Friday. And I was like, whoa, that's short notice. Wait, you want me to do it this Friday, next Friday? What Friday are you talking about? And it was very clear. No, September 6th, this Friday. I was like, oh, copy, bet. So on the way home, I get that phone call, and it was like, oh, that's why you said Friday. Got you. No problem. So that Wednesday, I went home. I changed the date on the resignation letter. I submitted it, or I set it up for an automatic send out to my temp agency for that Friday. And I was like, I bet we're going to do this. So come that Thursday, I told my coworker, who was my replacement, but who was not my replacement. She was replacing somebody else. But she knew it. We both knew it. We both had been under way too much stress. And what she went through, let me tell y'all something. When you have a supervisor, and I'm going to make this very clear. When you have a supervisor who enables and also encourages another coworker to do heinous things, to be toxic, to treat you in a hostile way, it creates problems. real true life problems. And there was a coworker we had who was also a temp. It's not like she had seniority. It wasn't like that. She was extremely disrespectful. She was extremely unproductive. She was extremely unprofessional. But because her and my supervisor knew each other from back in the day, it seemed like a lot of her stuff got to slide, to the point where Shorty was lying on me and my coworker, who did twice the workload she did, twice more complicated work than she did, but being lied on to say that we don't do nothing all day. All we do is laugh, this, that, and the third. Sorry, we can multitask. Sorry, we like each other. Sorry, we can work well together. Sorry, we like to talk to each other while we get our work done. Sorry, this is like a well-functioning marriage. Like, sorry that you're not in with us and I don't do clicks because we all grown. And I was the youngest person in my department. But this woman would run back to my supervisor and lie. And it was encouraged. And my supervisor would change her behavior. When I tell y'all it was toxic. Okay? Toxic. Didn't even cite that in my resignation letter while I was leaving. But toxic. Definition of toxic. Okay? So when God told me to leave and gave me permission to leave, and we were kind of like on the same accord with leaving, I printed out my letters that Thursday. Neither my supervisor nor my executive director were there that Thursday. And well, one of them was there, but I don't remember who. One of them was there. But I printed the letters out. I put it on their desk in their mailbox, and it was dated for Friday. Friday came, and no, I'm lying. Let me back up. The Lord told me the date. He told me it on a Wednesday. I think I gave them a week before I fully resigned. So he told me like the week before. So whatever the week before was, it was sometime in August, had to be. Yeah. Sometime in August, I want to say it was that last Wednesday in August that they called me to ask me to come back. Yes. My bad, family. I corrected myself. That was the correct timeline. The whole situation was going on in August. They called me that Wednesday in August. Jesus told me my last day was September 6th. So I was there for another week before I fully left. So whatever that Friday was, that Friday before the 6th, I had submitted the letter. That Monday, nobody said anything to me. It was only until like maybe that Tuesday, Wednesday, that my supervisor came to me and was like, hey, we want to have whatever that end of whatever meeting is, just to make sure like we understand what kind of workload you're leaving behind and what needs to be followed up on and everything else like that. And I remember telling her like, oh, I prepped that 2 weeks ago. Like that's all on my desk, this, that, and the third. So it wasn't really an exit interview. That's what it's called. It wasn't an exit interview. There was no question of, well, why are you leaving? Is there anything we can do to like it made no sense to me that again, my department wasn't very big. Let me clarify. Maybe 10 people in my department. 3 of us were handling a super important part of the department, complaints. Okay. Consumer complaints. All right. 3 of us. 1 was retiring. 1 was leaving. And you don't want to have a conversation with the one who was the direct trainee of the one who has 40 years experience. Like when I tell y'all they were literally calling me my trainer's mini-me, I had picked up on her stuff very fast. So it was like, why wouldn't you as a supervisor want to have a conversation? Like for me, if I was supervisor, which I have been in my past as a manager, bro, we're going to talk. I want to make sure everything is cool. Everything is good. Is there any constructive criticism professionally that you can give me as an ex-employee that you think may make it better for future temps that we may have? Like, I want to know so we can really leave this cordially so that there's no ill feelings. But I didn't even get that. And then my last day, I want to say it was my last day, my executive director sent an email like, oh my gosh, Coy, I didn't even know I forgot you were leaving. It totally slipped my mind when I saw you yesterday that today was your last day. How does that slip your mind? How does that slip your mind that one of your most important departments is getting smaller and you have no replacement? Anyway, toxic. So, that's how I left that job. So when I said simultaneously other stressful things were happening, On top of, well, kind of cycling behind itself a little bit. After my mother got better, I want to say she got better around May. May was my best friend's wedding. So I went to her wedding. When I came back, my mother was still a little sick, but she was okay for the most part. May, June, we had a house fire, which is why I am currently in the living room of my house. It's a testimony moment. Get ready. Like I said, get comfortable. Hope you got your snacks and your drinks. Because we had a house fire. So the way it happened, I think it was like June 26th. I think it was like it was a Monday, last Monday of the month kind of thing. I was on my lunch break. No, my last break of the day. It was like 2:00. And I got a text message from my mother that was like, hey, when you get a chance, call me. And I do always appreciate my mother's respect of my space and my time because she don't know what I was doing at work, right? So I appreciate her texting me. So when I called her, she was super calm. Like, my mother is a goat. I don't know how she stayed calm, but she was super calm. And she was like, hey, baby, so the house had a fire. I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? What do you mean the house had a fire? She's like, yeah, the house had a fire. It started from the basement and it spread up through the walls in the kitchen. Everything is fine. I'm fine. Nobody else was home but me. But when the fire department came, they had to break out the windows to get to your room to make sure there was no fire in your room. And Pumpkin jumped out the window, or they said they saw her jump out, and they don't know where she is, and I can't find her, and I'm sorry. I feel so bad because I tried to go back in and get her, but the smoke got too thick and I couldn't see her. I'm at work in Newark. It is 2:00, high time for traffic. Okay, I am freaking out, and I'm like, wait, what? You can't find my child? Like, for those of us out there that are pet parents, and for those of us that are not, let me just explain from the perspective of a pet parent. That is my kid. Full stop. That is my child. I don't know what else to put it to y'all. Like, I don't have a human child, so it's different, but the devotion, dedication, and I don't play about mines is so real. My children, my husband, whoever he is, listen, if I ain't play about my cat, what you think I'm about to do about my seed? Behind my seed? Huh? Better be glad I can't get catfish in prison. You better be glad. So, and I literally, just a sidebar for a second, I literally had the funniest conversation with my mother today. We were talking about a few different things. And I said to her, I was like, yeah, Ma, that's like a huge, because anybody can go to jail. Don't get it twisted. Christ follower, Muslim, atheist, it don't matter what your moral code is. Anybody can get put in jail. And if you don't get a handle on like anger issues or like emotional awareness and certain things like that, it won't take a lot to put you in there. So all the stress I've been under, all the things I've seen and what I feel has been done to me, the thing that's kept me out of jail is not that I don't look good in orange because it's one of my summer colors. Okay. It's not that I don't like a jumpsuit because I love the functionality, and as long as it has pockets, we cool. Okay. But it's been, I can't get no catfish in there. Because how am I gonna fry it? If I get on commissary, what we gonna do? Then I gotta make friends in the kitchen and share my catfish. Not doing it. Mm-mm. You can say what you want. Like, Coy, that's your motivating factor not to go to jail? Yeah. I don't care about the wig braids. I don't care about no lashes. I don't care about none of that. I can't have my catfish. Can't have my mac and cheese the way I want it. I can't. Nope. It's a nada for me, papi. So anyway, back into it. So the house fire happened, and like I said, I was at work when I got the phone call. So immediately went upstairs. I will say the one thing, even though I didn't like my supervisors all the time, I do appreciate the sense of compassion and empathy that they gave me when it was necessary. At the time, I feel like that solidified or created a greater sense of loyalty I had to my department, because I felt like people cared about me. Like, outside of my coworkers who I knew cared about me and rocked with me, I felt like my supervisors cared about me. And it was only when I was no longer pleasing to them that I wasn't pretty much a yes man when I started speaking up for myself and saying things, that it started to feel like, well, I'm not that appreciated. Like, okay, yeah, I do good work. Like, my work is excellent, but y'all don't treat me like I'm worth, you know what I'm saying? Like, you actually appreciate it. So I could feel that. And so with the fire, when I came upstairs from outside and I told them what was going on, I was like, yeah, I'm leaving right now, because I worked from 8 to 4, 8:30 to 4. Yeah, 8:30 to 4. So I was 2 o'clock. So I was like, yeah, I'm leaving right now. I'm leaving right now. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. I gotta head home. I gotta make sure my family is good. So I rushed home, and when I got home, the fire department was gone, but everybody was outside. My mother was outside. My cousins were outside. Everybody was here. We were waiting for Red Cross to show up. But I remember flying in my house like soon as I pulled up. I don't even remember putting the car in park. Soon as I pulled up in front of my house, I ran inside, immediately started screaming for Pumpkin. Immediately. Did not pass go, did not collect $200. And I have never experienced that like that feeling of fear in a very long time, because I didn't know where she was. My mindset was like, she's never been outside. My cat is definitely a house cat. Like, she don't do outside. She don't even like go in her carrier to go outside. Like, she don't do outside. And if it ain't sunbathing on the back porch, shorty is not doing it. Like, she's not doing it. So my concern was, this animal that's never been in this environment is now out here in these streets with these cars and these other mean cats. And I was just grateful I hadn't cut her nails. Honestly, I was like, well, if she got a scrap, you feel me? I felt like Pumpkin got the hands. And a lot of my friends on the block and my family members were like, Koi, animals, you'd be surprised what animals instinctively know how to do in times of emergency. So we didn't know where she was, but my friend who lived a couple doors down, she was like, cats know that at least they just have to get away from the danger for a moment. But she's like, she's probably still in the area. Like, she didn't go far. So we had checked the backyard. We checked by the pool. We checked cars. I walked up like halfway up the street. Child, I had enrolled neighbors. I had enrolled the workers that were doing construction on the house next door. I was like, hey, if you see this cat, I sent them, showed pictures. I showed the kids on the block, like, hey, if you see this cat, her name is Pumpkin. She's this, that, and the third. She'll respond to you. She might come to you. I'm not sure. But if you see her, let me know. Just to come, just for a couple hours later to come back, because I had went to my friend's house to decompress for a little bit. But my mind was still on, where's my animal? Where's my child? And I didn't know where she was, but we couldn't stay in the house because of the smoke had to come all the way out. So I couldn't stay here. So I was like, let me, go breathe for a second. And when I came back, it was like going on like maybe 7 o'clock. So it was starting to get dark. And I was like, I'm going to give this one more shot. Like, Jesus, we're going to try this one more again. Had my carrier ready. I had my t-shirts ready, whatever. And I come in this house and I'm calling her name. And she pop out from underneath my bed in my bedroom. I immediately cried. Immediately praises went up. Because I really thought something happened to her. Like, my biggest fear was she had passed from smoke inhalation, because we didn't know where she was. So I'm like, I hope she didn't cuddle somewhere and, you know what I'm saying, like pass out from smoke. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So it's been a real blessing. And that was definitely, like, I remember everything that was happening. I had recorded an episode where I wanted to title it The Fourth Man in My Fire, because Jesus really came through. Like, when I tell y'all, I hope somebody is encouraged by this episode, just this podcast in general, please remember and know, I know I'm coming to you from a real life place. Even whatever looks in front of you looks crazy. It looked like it's not going to work, can't work out, none of that stuff. The word says, with man, it's impossible. But with God, all things are possible. Miracles, signs, and wonders are possible. I'm sitting in my living room because of a miracle. My mother was the only person home. Scary. Nobody else was home. But the fire department told us if no one was home at all, we would have no house. That's how fast the fire was spreading and moving. If nobody was home, we would not have a house. So I praise God for this opportunity and for his grace and his mercy. None of my family is hurt. My mother wasn't hurt. Nobody else got hurt. I think Graham fell, but she's okay from when she tripped over the fire hose, I think. Yeah, she had tripped over a fire hose because they had showed up when the fire department was still there. But she was okay. She just was a little sore. And my cat was fine. It was like, okay, stuff can be replaced. I don't really care. God even graced me with the mercy to save my work laptop because I didn't think a fire was going to happen. So I didn't put it up nowhere. It was where it normally always was. And not only was there dust and ceiling bits on it and looked like smoke fire, like, you know, the ash or whatever, my laptop works. God made sure I was not going to lose my income. And I praise him for that. So the fire, like I said, happened in June. And that night and the next week, believe it or not, I actually stayed at my ex's house on the couch. For you naughty thinkers out there, don't get me wrong. Okay. But no. Because truthfully, it was an experience of like being so close to someone, but they feel so far. And so I know I'm loved by his family. I appreciate that. And even like the love still exists between him and I. It was just, I can't be in a house where I know I'm not alone, but I feel alone because we're not together. So it was a lot of mental torture for that week. But it was enjoyable because I adore his mother. And she has a fear of cats, or she had a fear of cats. I don't know if she still has it, but a lot of people I've talked to, or a lot of my friends from like when I was growing up and much younger in my adulthood, like college, would say they have a fear of cats. Like my friend John Ye would say all the time she had a fear of cats because everybody has had a bad experience with cats one point in time, and it just kind of created a fear. Like that's how most fears are created, especially with animals. You have one bad experience and that's all you need. But she was genuinely afraid of cats. And then she met Pumpkin. And she's not afraid of cats anymore, but she don't rock with cats. Like people that have met Pumpkin be like, I don't do cats, but Pumpkin is cool. And if you've ever met my cat in real life, I don't even know how to describe her. She's literally like me, like a love ball, but she also want to be left alone. Pumpkin do a lot. She got a real personality. But anyway, so it was fun to be there and allow to be witness to his mother like opening up about like her fear, and Pumpkin kind of working her slowly. Like cats are literally like, if you like, some cats are like, if you don't want to be my friend, I'm going to be your friend anyway, kind of thing. And one of my sister friends, Tanasia, will definitely like be a witness of saying like since high school, it was like she didn't necessarily want to be my friend, but I was like, we're going to be friends. So we became friends. My cat is definitely like that. So anyway, you gotta love us, you know. You're gonna get there. You may not be there now, but you're gonna get there, I promise. Thank y'all so much for sticking along this long. I really appreciate you. Drop some love down in the comments. I would appreciate it. So the fire happened and I stayed at his house for about a week, and I was able to enjoy time with his mom and him even. And then I want to say it was that Saturday I got a text message from one of my really, really good friends from high school, Felistis. I adore her, my god baby. She had asked me, like, we had been having conversations before the fire happened, but once the fire happened, we were really talking about it, and she was going to Africa for about 2 weeks, and she knew how I felt about staying at his house, and she was like, well, hey, listen, I'm going to Africa for a couple weeks. If you want to come here, you can come here. You and Pumpkin are more than welcome to come here. We love animals. You don't have to rush to leave. You'll be fine. Like, I really love my friends. Like, my friends are really my family. And I thank God for the friends that he's given me. truly love on your people, like people that you know are there for you. I'm not gonna cry, but I purposely didn't wear makeup, so if I did, it's okay. But really appreciate the people that are there for you, whether in big or small ways. Really appreciate the people that are there. She did not have to do that. She really didn't have to do that. But she was like, I'm leaving. You can come and house sit for me for a little while and get to decompress and relax and have some peace and quiet to yourself and just be by yourself. You might just need some time to yourself, and you don't got to feel the way you're feeling. Like, you can come here. And she told me that, I want to say it was a Saturday. I want to say it was a Saturday that she told me. Yeah, it was a Saturday. We had talked about it a couple of days before. And then she was like, well, if you still want to come, let me know, because I leave Sunday. And so I had to be there by a certain time because, respectfully, she shut her house down at a certain time because she got a child. And so I had to be there by a certain time. And I remember telling my ex that I was leaving, and he was like shocked. Like, oh, like, okay, like, is that like kind of like that's quick thing? And I was just thinking to myself, like, I know you don't feel some type of way that I'm leaving now, and you had me sleeping on this couch this whole week. Anyway, I'm joking. Not. But anyway, so I left and got to stay at her house. And when I tell you, it was an absolutely wonderful experience. I feel so blessed and honored that I was able to watch one of my closest best friends be a mom. Like, really, I'm gonna cry. It was the most beautiful thing to watch her be a mother. And she is such an amazing, attentive, compassionate mother. Even when she had to do a little bit of discipline, it was done so gently and so good. And like, oh, I love my Z baby. Like, oh my gosh, I love that time so much. And our conversations, when I tell y'all, Felistis helped so much in my healing. Get you some godly friends. Get you some friends that instead of they gonna gossip with you, they gonna pray for you. Get you some friends that's gonna counsel you with the word of the Lord. I'm telling you, it ain't nothing like some sisters in Christ. And shout out to my sisters in Christ that are my sisters. You understand? I love y'all. But I got to stay with her for a little while. I think I was there for like maybe 2 months, because this was July. So August, because August, she had got the amazing opportunity, because she had been telling me she wanted to do it for a while. And I was like, girl, I'm here for it. With her own, straighten out her own life. She was like, Koi, I gotta go. Like, I'm leaving. And I was like, where you going? She's like, well, I'm putting in job applications to, go to either Rhode Island or Maine. I'm like, oh, you going? She's like, yeah, but I really want this job out in Washington. I'm like, DC? She's like, no, this state, like by California. And I was like, oh, that's far. Like, that's not just a drive. I got to go to the airport to come see you now. And she's like, yeah, but once we get settled in over there, like, it's whenever you want to come. Like, it'll be an open door kind of thing. And I was like, I appreciate that. So she got a job. God bless her. Thank the Lord. She got a job that she's really happy at. Like, we've talked about it since. And she loves it. And her daughter's adjusting very well. And I was so proud of her, and it inspired me to be like, yeah, no, I need to start making some real changes that are really about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, because selfishness is not, I think the context we see selfish is dangerous, because sometimes it's really self-preservation. It's not me being selfish. I have to preserve myself. It's not me being selfish. I have to protect my boundaries. It's not me being selfish. I have to protect my peace. It's not me being selfish. I have to be protective of myself to a certain extent. And a lot of people know the logic of, if you can't be good to yourself, if you ain't good with yourself, you can't be good for nobody else. If you can't help yourself, you can't help nobody else, kind of thing. And so her deciding to do that inspired me to want to do some other things. And at the same time that this was all going on, God was working in the background that we would be able to come back into the house to stay before renovation start, for them to fix the house. So my mother is staying at my aunt's house, which she absolutely loves being there. And she has been there since, and we're in December now. So she's been there since about June-ish. And the reason being is because renovations have not started here yet, but they will. Starting in, I believe, the new year, they're going to be starting. Like my birthday month, I'm not sure. So I am sitting in expectation and praying every day. This is transparency. Praying internally every day for God to deal with the anxiety of what me and Pumpkin's situation will be when they start renovations, because I don't have many friends that I know of with their own spot or like that are cool with cats that I could come stay with. But if it was like necessary, I'm pretty sure somebody would be like, yeah, Chloe, we can figure something out. Like, even if I just put her in a room, like, she don't got to be out in the house. I just need to know where she is. And I have family. I'm learning how to tap into community. You understand? I'm learning how to tap into community. So let's see. What else has been going on this year? It's been a lot. So that was 2 huge major things that happened. And God is, the way he is a master of creation and how he has intentionally orchestrated every aspect of our lives, like that nothing is a coincidence. I am really excited and curious to see how he's gonna use this. Like, you ever just sit back and think like, God, I really want to know, because I know you said, no tear is wasted, no prayer goes unanswered. So I would really love to know. And then everything works out for the good of those who love the Lord, and are called according to his purpose. So I really want to know where we going with this. You understand? So we're gonna stick around for the ride. Good things that have happened this year have been a lot with my business. So for those of us that may not know, your young auntie, Miss Corian here, is a business owner. I call myself the co-owner and CEO because God is my CEO. But my business is Like the Fish Premium Vending Services, LLC. We official. But at first it started out, like I had said at the beginning of this episode, that I got my job because I wanted to learn more about the vending industry. But it evolved into something much bigger than me and much bigger than healthy snacks and beverages in schools. It became a different type of mission to be a community resource. So my business focuses primarily on being able to provide feminine and gender inclusive hygiene kits for emergencies to people, to everybody that needs one, whether you menstruate or you don't, whether you have access to the store to get your stuff or you don't, whether you have the money to get the stuff you need, because hygiene should not be seen as a first world luxury. It's a human right. And so that's kind of my business. And our tagline or our slogan is seeing the need, filling the need, and filling the need unseen. Thank the Lord. And so this year, business has been really good. Honestly, God has given me a lot of opportunities to do expos, to do tablings, also to donate kits. And really the 2 biggest things that have happened, I want to say in the month of November, was one, the Lord allowed me to co-host a health expo that was in my city. Shout out to Miss Alicia Walker and the Sultry Sisters. She asked me to be a part of it, and I actually met her at a women's event in October. I'm like, what's the month? In October. That was pretty much going through a woman's experience from period to menopause and everything in between. And we met, and my mentor was there, and she introduced me to Miss Walker as like they're kind of like really close, like sisters. And I don't know, they could be sisters. They do look alike. I'm not entirely sure if they're like related biologically. I gotta find out. But anyway, my mentor introduced Miss Walker as like her sister, saying we needed to link up because my mentor knows what I do and what I've been doing and what I want to do. And so that's how me and Miss Walker got linked up, for her to ask me to come and do expo with her, to co-host an expo. And I did that, and that was amazing and awesome. And it actually happened to be at one of my childhood churches, like a church I went to for summer camp when I was like 12 years old. So it was very much so a wholesome experience, and I absolutely loved it. Again, God is very intentional. Nothing goes unwasted. No person you interact with is by happenstance. I promise. So we were able to do that. And then in November, we also were able to, thank you, Lord, again, we were able to do our first ever feminine hygiene, like period 101 workshop for this group of wonderful Girl Scout brownies. How sweet, right? Like, oh my gosh, their little bitty faces. About feminine hygiene, about their period, about the realities of it, about the truth about it. I remember telling them, we talked about everything. We talked about the biology, like how things happen biologically in a woman that makes her period start. Puberty. We talked about accidents. I even told them the truth about period poops. I didn't tell them about the period. Sometimes you get like this cramp in your booty hole. I didn't tell them that. I would hate for them to go through that, but it might come along. I don't know. But I definitely told them about the period poops because those are real and they are disrespectful. And I didn't really put two and two together until I was much older in my journey as a woman that, certain hormones that are released in my body make certain things just move around extra fast. And yeah, that's one of them. Family, we transparent here. We family. So listen, we all right. We grown. And if you're a man or someone who identifies as such, this is information you need to know because there's someone that menstruates that may be having some period poverty issues, but that's another topic for another time. But you can tell that my businesses are very, very, very close to my heart. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunities that God has allowed me to experience in regard to my business and continue to experience regarding my business and growing it how I am and really showing me like you have to do the work if you want the reward. And also how much of life with God is actual partnership. It is a real relationship. It does require you to give up yourself for things that your partner or God wants for you. And it does require you to die to yourself. It does require you to mature in ways that maybe you didn't think you needed to mature in. And I'll be one of the first, if you haven't heard it before, I don't know, because I don't really go by church culture. It's always bothered me. It's one of the reasons why for a while it was just me and God. I didn't have a church. That's another story for another time, but I think I told it before. But I didn't have a church. I didn't have a place every Sunday I was going. It was me and God every day. It was me and my word, taking Jesus walks before people was putting videos about it on social media. It was me cooking for Jesus, like building real relationship with him prior to feeling like I had a spiritual mother or father over me. And that was such a pure spot. That's honestly one of the spots where the podcast came from, to be completely honest with you. That's where the inspiration came from. I was just in my little pocket with me and Jesus, and we was chilling. So we're getting back to that little pocket. The podcast, like I said, he's also allowed amazing opportunities to come from them. Like I said at the beginning, I used to feel like I wasn't worthy of them, but now I'm just realizing like, no, you just have to do the work because God knows you can do the work. You just have to do it. So that's why we're here. Because one of the biggest opportunities thus far this year for the podcast that we're experiencing literally next week. So today's the 10th. Okay. I'm not saying that the 10th is when you're going to see this or hear this, but today is December 10th. And we have our first ever, God be the glory. We have our first ever live podcast recording at an amazing event on the 15th in Newark, New Jersey, because God wastes no connection. A couple years ago, I think I told y'all about this experience, but I'll be brief about it. A couple years ago, my friends Lori and Salima took me to a speakeasy kind of thing where they were doing poetry, music, had, a bunch of black vendors, very vibey, very much so vibey. And there was a contest at the place that we didn't really know about, but they were giving out these like gold fake medallion coins. And the game was whoever at the end of the night had the most coins was deemed like the most interesting person, because in order to get the coin you had to have a conversation with people. So it was like a easy way to network with people, because either you wanted to get a coin or you wanted to give your coin away. And so you had conversations, you would talk to people. If you found them interesting, you give them your coin, and at the end of the night I had like 13 coins, and I don't even remember talking to that many people, but I had a lot of coins, and I won that little in-show game. And so I was supposed to have a interview or an opportunity to work with the artist, Mr. Jimmy So Dope. But life happened, and a lot happened in those years from then to now. But I never lost love or support for Jimmy, and it's been vice versa, who is now Mr. James Rashad. Excuse me, to correct myself, okay? And every year he has like a birthday party he throws for himself, but it's really, he's a real artist. Like, he is a truly talented artist. I cannot wait to have him on the podcast, for real. But he is a, like, Jimmy So Dope, like, legit. And so he's having this party, and we were having a conversation. He was like, hey, he called me. He's like, hey, you got time to talk? I was like, yeah, like, I got time for you, no problem. And he was like, so this is an event I'm doing, da 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 da. And I wanted you to, I had a conversation. He's like, I thought about maybe you co-hosting the event with me, or with the person, somebody else that I want to co-host it. But then I thought about the fact that you have a podcast, and I wanted to know if you would be interested in having like a 20-minute spot in the show to do an on-the-spot interview for your podcast. And of course, I jumped at it. What are you talking about? Of course I did. But then I thought to myself, you know what? We should probably make content. We should probably put an episode out before we get there, because I don't want my audience to be lost. I don't want the fam to not know what's going on when I drop the, other stuff coming up. So I think that's it. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Honestly, me and other aspects, health wise, I've been overall very healthy. Thank the Lord for that. I do have this one thing that once I know more about it, like, I know about it, but I think I got to do more research kind of thing. I'll tell y'all about that, but I think I may have to have surgery. I don't know when. But I'll keep y'all posted about that. Just keep me uplifted in your prayers as I do the same with you. And I guess last thing is, God willing, Shorty turning 30 next month. What? Turning 30? I'm officially gonna be an auntie. What? Don't talk to me. I'm your elder. Show some respect. Huh? When I turn 30, what? I can't wait. I don't know necessarily. I don't have nothing planned. Like, I have in my mind visions. Like, I have a couple things I want to do for my birthday. Like, I want to have a photo shoot. I want to go to a spa, like an actual spa with the salt rooms and the pools and all that other stuff, and have a full-fledged day of absolutely nothing but relaxation and pampering. Kid you not. I want to get my nails done. I want to get my first set of junk nails for my birthday, and I already know the salon I want to go to. I want to get my passport. Let's see. I want to get my car cleaned and detailed. Oh, because I forgot to mention that I got a new car. The Lord is so kind. I got a new car. In July. So it literally happened the same day. In July, I found out via Facebook that a really close friend, somebody I used to work with, passed away. And it was absolutely a traumatic day for me. I found out through Facebook, and I remember the last time I found out about a friend passing away was a best friend from high school whose name was Tashina, and she passed away from an accident in Fort Hood. She was a soldier, God rest her soul. And so I found out through Facebook years ago, and I thought it was a game. I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody was playing with me. And then when I saw like her family members posting it and things like that, I knew it was real. So in this aspect with my other friend who passed away, her name is Drea. I saw it on Facebook, and I couldn't identify people who were posting it. But then I saw people we worked with together posting, and I was like, oh, this is real. I had a whole mental breakdown in the hallway. At my job. Just crying, truly, just crying. And the fact that she was 30 and super young, she had just given birth to her second child 2 weeks and some change before she passed. And it was one of those, God's will, but on earth, maybe it could have been prevented if doctors, nurses, people did their jobs. But we trust God's plan even when we don't understand God's plan. We know his heart when we can't see his hand, kind of thing. And that day it was just like really deep in me. Why wait? Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting to get a car? Why are you waiting? Who says you'll have tomorrow? And it wasn't anxious kind of thing, but it was also a realistic kind of thing. Like, you're waiting for what? You're waiting to go get your first car with your mother or somebody to go with you so that you don't feel like you're going to get duped or whatever. But God is with you. So go. And I was like, bet, copy. I left work early. I said, I'm not doing this. It was like 12 o'clock. I'm not doing this. Absolutely not. I see y'all maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And then I had actually found out from my supervisor that she knew, like, that day that I went upstairs and I told them like what happened and why I was such an emotional wreck. I found out my supervisor knew my friend's baby's father's family. So she was aware of everything that happened. And like I said, they showed me empathy and compassion when it mattered, on the occasion it mattered. So I was grateful for that, but that was rough. That was really, really rough. It's not even been easy. Her birthday just passed at the beginning of December. So, that's been a lot of reflection. And at the end of the year, I know a lot of people, most of us are doing end of year reflections. This has been honestly an end of year reflection for me. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you. Truly, thank you for being here, because you really could have been anywhere else and you didn't have to listen to me yammer on and tell the truth of my testimony. But I thank you. With end of year reflections as of right now, the only thing I can say is I'm just grateful for God's keeping power. Truth be told. That's all I got. It's not necessarily I'm working on goals yet. I ain't worked on goals. I ain't worked on vision boards. I ain't wrote nothing down. I ain't did none of that. I'm just like really trying to take it day by day. I'm in school now and went back to school. And so it's been a lot just day by day, because therapy helps so much. I love my therapist. We're in a much better space, and I'm choosing to believe that next year, all of next year, with its ups and its downs, I will have more ups than downs, because this is changing, which is why you're seeing me again. The mind is really remapping itself, and I'm really trying my hardest to make sure it does it in the best way and allows me to be consistent and present and here. So again, I thank you. This is all the time I'm gonna take from y'all today. We've been here for an hour and some change. Did you enjoy your time? I hope you did. Let me know your thoughts on the episode down below in the comments, or slide in my DMs and let me know your thoughts, your feelings, all that good stuff. I do really hope and pray that you're well. I hope and pray that your year has, regardless of what has happened, who may have been lost, who may have left, that you get a moment to just sit back and be grateful that you're still here. Outside and inclusive of everything else, you're still here. So if you're still here and I'm still here, he's not done with us yet. We still got work to do. And he will continue to show up and remind us, I'm not done with you yet. We're not done here. Get back in the ring. No throwing in the white flags, people. You may want to just twirl it a little bit, but don't throw it. Just use it to wipe the tears and the sweat. Use it to wipe the tears and the sweat. That white flag, do like this with it. Blow your nose into it. But whatever you do, please don't throw it in, because there's so much more that you are needed for. I think that's it. I think that's all we got for today. Like I said, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube fam as well as on the audio fam. And I thank y'all so much. And follow me, stalk me. Not really. But follow me on, keep up with me on social medias, the IG, the TikTok. I don't think I have a Facebook yet. I made a Threads, so feel free to follow me. I'm gonna just put information all up and through here, and or if it's not up on the screen, it'll definitely be in the description box below. Okay? All right, family. Well, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go. I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you're good, you're well, you eat well. Make sure you close my fridge on your way out. Make sure you lock the bottom. And I'll catch y'all very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. Love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking around. Oh my gosh. Family. The Young Auntys podcast, where we politic and parlay. The place for the millennial aunt and unc. The place where we are young enough to make mistakes, but old enough to have wisdom from the ones we've made and share those lessons with others. Hope you got something from this episode, and I hope you have a blessed day. Talk to y'all soon.